Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this fourth episode of the KindaCool Podcast, where I have a special guest, Kross. Yay, there's claps and chimes for Kross. So this was a very fun, interesting podcast. He's a very fascinating young human being, and check out his channel. He does anime videos, and we talk about it. He does various things on his channel. So we talk about Friends and How I Met Your Mother. So if you're into that kind of discussion of which is better, which Friends is better, but I can't say that. I've never seen How I Met Your Mother, but we have a little discussion about it. So he has a variety of videos on his channel. So and I'm very thankful for him for coming on and talking with me. It's great. So this episode of the podcast is sponsored by me. So check me out on Twitch, on Twitter at Jamin Riley, and then on Twitch it's Jamin is Kinda Cool. And of course you're already on my YouTube channel. So that's it. So we'll just get right into it. And here we go.
All right, well, what's going on?
All right. Thanks for coming on for sure, because you're the only person. Like, I've reached out to a couple people.
Yeah, I can imagine. That was kind of my. I mean, I like talking to people, so I probably would have said yes. But like, I've kind of like been like I had I don't know, like 100, 200 subs for several years or so, and like I definitely remember like sort of reaching out to other people and it's just like. From my perspective anyway, it's like this takes an hour out of my time, and like it's like I'm not going to lose anything. I might have a really interesting conversation out of it, so it's just like, why not?
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that you think that way, because I don't know, just and I don't talk to many people that are like creators, or like especially small creators, because I've been on YouTube for like years, like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, me too.
Super small channel, never even had close to 1,000 subs. So
yeah, I mean, I only kind of got a quote unquote spike in quote unquote popularity when like a few months ago, like towards the beginning of 2020. But yeah, like for 5-6 years or something, I've been doing YouTube for a long time. I only had like upward of 200-ish subscribers, and then like this is something that I tell everybody whenever like they see my sub count and they're just like, whoa, I'm impressed. I'm just like, it does not take skill to grow a large YouTube channel. Maybe it takes skill to like sustain one or something, but like the actual like if my sub count was representative of people who wanted to see like videos from me specifically, it would still be in the hundreds.
Yeah, and
I guess that's a pessimistic way to look at it, but
yeah, I know it's they always say you have to have a little luck too. Like,
yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Finding your audience. That's what I always say. I'm like, man, I just gotta find my audience, but it's not that.
Yeah, and I mean that's something I really that's something that I really respect about the content that you've made, is that you're obviously like very focused on like creating like your channel is like you as a personality, and that's something that's the kind of channel where like it's not like widely appealing, but for the people that it does appeal to, it's like they'll love it. They'll watch basically anything that you put out, regardless of the subject matter.
Yeah, I hope so, because like, I mean, I've done a lot of, I've always switched up my videos, like what I want to make. For a while I was just doing reaction videos. Like if you go back to my very early stuff, it's all reaction videos. I've done gaming videos, and then now it's
I started out doing gaming. I started out doing Let's Plays.
I mean, I think everyone wants to be like a Let's Play gamer.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I mean that, yeah. Like that's how, like as a kid, that's exactly how like I started up YouTube. I started watching what was his name? Kobanermani456 was like the first like YouTuber that like I followed, and he was just I don't want to say like run of the mill Let's Player, but like you know, it like the I would have had the same reaction if I had found like the Game Grumps or like Zach Plays or something like that. But like yeah, I remember, and obviously I was I was a child. I was just like the entire like there was a reason that like I didn't grow any semblance of a fan base at that point. But like it was fun, and like eventually I realized that like uh that like in order to have fun, at least making videos, then I would need to be like making something that that was like me, instead of essentially just like looking at what, and I mean to an extent that's what like all content is looking at what other people have done and seeing like how can I enjoyed this, how can I also do it, and maybe and like put my own spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. I've what motivates you to keep making videos? Like when you were super small, what was your drive to just keep doing your videos?
I mean, in truth, I think when I was like a much smaller, I was a lot more motivated by clout. I was chasing the numbers. But I think the like the reason that was the case is because like I admired like the higher like the YouTubers with, you know, millions of subscribers, and like I wanted to be like them. And I didn't really pay attention to their like cult of personality, or like to like the personality content, which now is like almost all I care about, I think. But I think the sort of like the turning point for me was like when I like realized that I didn't, or not that I like didn't enjoy making Let's Play videos, but I started up my second channel, which is now my main channel, which is Kross. Experiment C was my main channel originally, and I put all of my like Let's Play videos on there, and then I switched over and I started making videos on Kross. And I found that I just had way more fun on that channel. Like I enjoyed making videos on that channel that were more I guess commentary based, like more like the point of the video was about like giving my opinion on random shit. And I just like I realized that I enjoyed that like way more. And also kind of around that point, I discovered the YouTuber DigiBro, now DigiNay.
Yeah.
Have you heard of her?
Yeah, Digibro. I didn't know
Yeah,
his thing
yeah.
his changed.
Yeah. She's trans now.
Oh.
Yeah, so she goes by DigiNay.
Oh my gosh.
Nay
That's
meaning
cool.
like older sister in
Yeah,
Japanese or something.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
Okay,
she
gotcha.
made, and I guess still makes like anime analysis videos. And I just got, and I'm a huge fan of anime, as any glance at my channel will tell you.
Right.
And she was like one of my like big like discovering her content and like seeing all of the like really interesting takes that she had on stuff like that. I sort of like just naturally like explored more, and I found that like she had a what at the time was called DigiBro After Dark, which was her second channel. And I just kind of like went down the rabbit hole of like in the entirety of just like learning everything I could about her. To the point that like if I saw in my notification box basically any video that was made by DigiNay, I would see that, and I'd like immediately click on it, even if I wasn't interested in the subject matter. And I was like, I want to make this kind of content. Like I want people to feel towards my content the way that I feel about her content, you know? And so that was kind of like the turning point, or the turning point for me, or at least when I first like consciously realized like what kind of content I really want to center in on. But yeah, like now anyway, I've what motivates me to make videos now is definitely just like sort of, I mean, I think for me it's sort of like for compiling a database of like all my thoughts and opinions and stuff. Because like something about me is that when I start thinking about something, I will not be able to stop thinking about it until I like reach a like conclusive like end point, you know? So like politics is a very, and I don't want to get into politics, and I'll explain why, is a very like non not like there are like there's no like absolute rules, you know, that kind of thing. So like versus like if I'm watching a TV show, then I can ask myself like, why did I like this, why did I dislike it, and I can like find points in the show where I disliked it, and I can like learn to explain why. Or you know, or like I also draw, and I can be like, what are the rules of drawing, like what makes something look good. And obviously like it's all like, to an extent, they're all like a spectrum, like not, there are not like hard and fast rules, but there are like general guidelines, and like I'm able to best work around those, like, or at least like I'll get mentally exhausted if like if I continue to consider like all the variables in something, which is why like the content that I make now is kind of like, it helps me sort of categorize things. Like once I've made a video, I can be like, this is what I think about this show, and I don't need to think about it from that point onwards or whatever.
Okay.
And also it's just like it's just fun to talk about things that I like and dislike, and to just like kind of improve like my writing and analysis abilities, I guess.
I gotcha. So how did you find like anime? Because it's a big part of your life, obviously, right?
Well, my sister actually, the first anime, I know this, the first, I guess Pokemon would be the first anime that I know,
yeah,
but like most kids think of Pokemon as a cartoon. But the first anime that I watched was an anime called Fruits Basket, which was like an early 2000s show. And I remember me and my sister would watch reruns of it. And I just like, I basically don't remember anything about it other than the simple premise, which was like this girl, and I didn't watch the whole thing, but this is just like, I remember this just because it was my first anime. This girl, she moves to a new part of town or something, I think, and then she meets up with a bunch of pretty boys, and they all have this like ability / curse where they will turn into animals, and then when they turn back from animals, they will be naked. And that's like basically all I remembered. So it was kind of like a, what people call a reverse harem, where main girl surrounded by a bunch of pretty boys. And so that was like the first anime that I watched. And I just like, I thought of it all as like cartoons, because that was all I had been exposed to. And I was like, this is a different looking cartoon. And I like I like this. And then later on, I discovered Fairy Tail, which was the first anime that I watched like a full season of, because it was all on Netflix, and I never watched any more of it because it wasn't on Netflix. But me and my sister were absolutely obsessed with Fairy Tail. And I'm obviously embarrassed to say this right now, because if you've seen Fairy Tail, you know that it's like the most boilerplate, like basic ass bitch, like not to shit on Fairy Tail or whatever. Fairy Tail gets a lot of hate. I think it's kind of undeserved, but it's certainly not like it's very much so the introductory anime, like the most introductory anime that like I could recommend to someone. So it makes sense why I got into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so me and my sister absolutely love that. And at that point, I had kind of figured out what anime was, and I was like, I want to look for more of this. And then I found Sword Art Online, and of course, like I was 13, 14 at the time, so I was exactly the target audience for that show. As you know, one of the most popular anime of all time.
So you're probably a young guy then, huh?
Huh?
You're probably you're a young guy then, huh?
Yeah, I'm 17.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I did not know that you were so young.
A lot of people say that. I guess I have a lot of people have like mistaken me for being a lot older than I am, and I think that's just because
you sound older.
To toot my own horn, but like I articulate myself, I feel pretty well. I've always been like an extrovert. I've always enjoyed talking to people, and like getting my point across. And so, and also I just like practice all the time in my videos. Like it's scripted content. So like I try to I try not to like waste too much time or like go on meaningless tangents or just like say things like, to me. And part of this is kind of like because of the shows of like how I identified myself as a kid, which was that like which was like the ultimate like cringe, like I'm an edgy teenager kind of kid. Like that's how I saw myself. I was exactly like the stereotype of like a kid who would love Sword Art Online, Fairy Tail. And like as I grew up and as I like began reflecting back on that, I was like, that's cringe. Like I don't want to be like that or whatever. And so as I and also at this point I had been continuously getting deeper and deeper into Digine lore and shit. And so I just continuously, it was just like, I want to like sound smart. I want to sound intellectual. And now I don't place as much value. I've tried to like kind of pump the brakes on like trying to sound smart and like make a coherent point all the time. Like I'm trying to more embrace like the like I don't need to explain why I like something or dislike something. Like you don't need a reason to like or dislike something. That was kind of the mindset that I had like fixed myself into. But yeah, like for a period there, I just really practiced it, like explaining, like sounding, just trying to sound smart to everybody. And I guess to me, like smart was synonymous with mature, because like, you know, all of the TED Talks or whatever of people of like who are very composed and stuff, they all sound very adult. And so that was kind of the persona that I took on.
I gotcha. That's crazy, man. You blew my mind just now. I didn't I mean, I'm an old guy. I'm 28. I just turned 28. So
oh, dude, awesome.
Yeah, I was like thinking that you were like, you know, not my age. I was like maybe he excuse me, sorry. Maybe, you know, 25, 24, something like that. But
wow.
Yeah, I don't know. That's great.
Crazy. It's so great. Like it's so cool, and to think that like people could, because obviously like I've like seen myself as like the age that I am my whole life, so I'm like, yeah, I sound like a 17-year-old, but like it's really cool to hear like other people describe me as like sounding a lot older, and it kind of like makes me feel like really confident in my ability to sort of like put on a persona, because and this is something like I'm super interested in like forming like not like having different identities, but like putting on sort of different personas depending on the situation that you're in, you know. And everybody does this to an extent, you know. You act differently if you're in front of your parents versus your friends versus significant other versus online, whatever, you know. But like I've always been really fascinated with like what if like on in one account or whatever, I would like act as like this super hyper intellectual person or whatever who always makes a point, and then in another one I could act as like this like super goofy weirdo who just like who just makes memes and jokes all the time. And I guess that also kind of gets into my whole thing about just like wanting to segment everything and like have everything be like a spreadsheet or whatever, and like it just makes it easier to like reroute my thoughts depending on what situation I'm in.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense. You do put on like I'm very different around my grandma than I am with, you know, my girlfriend. It's you have a lot of different, you know, personalities, I guess, all at once. So you started watching anime pretty young. Then of course I'm older now, so mine would be like Dragon Ball Z. Coming home after school, watching it, and the whole Toonami block.
Everyone always talks about like I kind of wish that I had been born earlier in that era, because like it sounds like something like to be there to watch like the biggest shows, you know, Naruto, Bleach, Dragon Ball, like just the big hitters or whatever. And like obviously I know about them, but like I wasn't there. And it's like, would you say that you kind of had that experience of like when you hear people talk about like, yeah, I remember watching Dragon Ball Z on Toonami. I had never even heard of Toonami. Like, what is it?
Right. Yeah, I'm very much from that time, and that's what really got me into it. So it is cool to see like I think Chris Stuckman, you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Chris Stuckman did a whole like kind of, I would say like a documentary, but not like, really? You know, it's on YouTube about Toonami, and he has a lot of like footage and stuff from that era. puts it on, like, and he just
That's
talks
so
about
cool.
it. So if you really want to know about Toonami and like how it all
I'm
happened,
super into like learning, like sort of learning the history of stuff,
yeah,
because like, I remember you and your girlfriend were like talking about I listened to a couple of to the other two podcasts, and your girlfriend like mentioned Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and
yeah,
like that like made me think of like how I just like earlier this summer I went through and I watched every written and directed Quentin Tarantino film, which
mm-hmm,
and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood being the most recent of which,
yep,
and like my motivation for that was like to see like just the history of like how it all and like how influential these things were, because like earlier in my life, I would always like I've always like watched like recent stuff or whatever, and I never really got the appeal of like why would I watch something old when something that's new exists, when like the current conversation around something that's new is happening right now and I want to be a part of that.
mm-hmm,
But like recently I like my dad just showed me we just like watched Pulp Fiction together, and like watching it I was like I like realized how like I'd never seen the movie before, and yet I could quote lines as they came up in the movie. And like Pulp
mm-hmm,
Fiction is obviously the best example. It's like one of the biggest movies of all time.
yeah,
But like as things were being said in the movie, like I was saying like I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing, and this is some gourmet shit, like all
yep,
of that. I like never seen the movie before, and I was just like, holy shit, it's amazing how like influential, like even if I had never seen these movies before or whatever, I can still like derive, like I can still connect the dots of like this happened back here, and that's how this thing that I experienced in my life became a thing. And a lot of it comes in the format, like for me, of like memes. Like tons of Quentin Tarantino films like have meme formats in them. You know, in
mm-hmm,
Django Unchained there's well gentlemen, you
yeah,
had my attention but now you have my interest, or something like that,
yeah, yeah,
whatever. Like that's a huge one. And
mm-hmm,
it's just like and yeah, so I've just so yeah, like ever since then I've just been like on this huge like tirade of looking for classic shows. I watched Shawshank Redemption and like the crawling through the hole in the wall,
mm-hmm,
and then like through the sewers or whatever. My first exposure to that was a reference to that from a episode of Phineas and Ferb, where the
ah,
characters, I don't know if you know this episode, but the characters like they they I think they get like some sort of message sent to them from space that's like, hey, build this machine, and they're like, I know what we're gonna do today, and they build the machine, and little do they know, and like they're told that it's like a vacation or something, like it's supposed to like swap their minds with aliens that'll send them to a vacation or
mm,
whatever somewhere off in space, but actually the aliens are in like space prison or whatever, and they have to bust out, and they do the Shawshank thing and
mm,
or whatever, and when the narration over top of it, I don't know. It sounds like Morgan Freeman. I don't know. They might have literally gotten Morgan Freeman on Phineas and Ferb. That
that
would
would
be
have been odd,
awesome.
yeah,
But like he does they had to crawl through 5 miles or whatever of like
yeah,
sewage, and then but like, and they expand the joke from like that's the length of 3 football fields. It's also the length of 16 tennis courts. It's also the length, and they like go on. And
right,
like, and I was like, haha, that's kind of funny. It's kind of weird that like this joke comes out of nowhere. And like now I go back and watch Shawshank Redemption, and I hear the narration, I see the scene, and I'm like, that's where that came from, and it's super cool. And so like I've been doing that, and obviously that's what I've been doing with the watching every Studio Ghibli movie
yeah,
series.
yeah, and that's so funny because I have that same stuff from, every generation has shows that have references to older stuff, so
Right.
you just have to, as time just keeps going on, more and more references for different movies will be, put into things, and like pop cult god, sorry, pop culture, there's just certain things you absorb from, like, not knowing, like, just from being alive, you absorb things from pop culture, like Godzilla. Everyone knows who Godzilla is. Have
Mm-hmm.
you ever seen the old Godzilla movies?
I've never seen the old Godzilla movies.
No, but I
I've
mean,
gotta watch them,
and
man.
like Mecha Godzilla is a thing, like they have all those Godzillas that haven't been in new movies, but
The
I know
extent
what
of
that
my
is.
Godzilla knowledge is like from the like death battle YouTube videos where he's
Really?
in and he's like fighting against some other monster.
Oh, Death Battle. I miss those. Or the
I was
Godzilla
so
ones.
into Death Battle.
Yeah, I used to watch it
and
a
like,
lot.
and this is also like in when I was like 13 or something. But
Goku
yeah,
versus Saitama. I remember that one.
Dude, I remember just like hoping and praying. I was just like, oh man, how cool would it be? Because my favorite cartoons at the time were Danny Phantom
Oh.
and American Dragon Jake Long. And I was like, how cool would it be if if they did an episode of Danny Phantom and Jake Long? And I left so many comments, man. I left so many comments on their videos like, please do this, guys, or whatever. And like a month ago, it finally happened. I stopped watching them like forever ago, but like it finally happened, and I watched it, and it was pretty sick.
They live up to the hype.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, the hype of like by the like
Danny Phantom
like,
has to
they've
kill
moved
him,
on
right?
to like they've moved on to doing like CGI now or whatever.
Oh.
This one was a pixelated one, and it looked pretty good. Like the actual fight analysis of all of their abilities. It's pretty great.
Who won?
It was Danny Phantom.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, I watched Danny Phantom. I didn't watch the whole show, but I didn't really watch any of American Dragon Jake Long. Does he just turn into a dragon, right?
Yeah, he's just got his mom's side of the family is Chinese, and his mom's dad, his grandpa, is like he's like this old like wise master, kind of like a what was it like from the Karate Kid, like master, like what's the master's name?
I don't know. I
forget
remember
his name, but like he just like kind of he like owns this like gift shop or something, and he just like trains Jake to like master his dragon abilities or something. And it has like the infamous art style change from like seasons 1 to seasons 2. And I thought, and I was confused by it, but I thought both of them looked great. Like a lot of people were like, "Oh man, why did they change season 2 art style? It looks so bad." I thought both of them looked good.
Yeah, they got like, didn't it get like smoother or something? I remember it being like more smooth looking.
It got like, well, season one was like thicker outlines, more like kind of round shapes or whatever, and then like season 2 I'd describe as like thinner and more jagged, I guess.
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you ever heard of Jackie Chan Adventures?
Yes.
Did you watch that? That's probably way too old, but that was I mean, not an anime show, I don't think, but it very much had that kind of style and feel to it to me, like because of the action and all that. I used to love that show. It's so good. What would you say is your favorite anime? Do you have a favorite anime of all time?
Favorite anime of all time?
Yeah.
I'd probably have to say like Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann is definitely up there. Death Note is definitely up there. I guess like in terms of like anime, those are probably the two contenders.
I have not finished Gurren Lagann. Have not finished it. I've watched a couple episodes.
A lot of people kind of stop at the time skip.
Yeah.
Which I remember I did, but then I stopped for a while, but then I just like I had nothing else to watch or whatever. I remember watching Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill simultaneously, not realizing that they're basically made by the same people, and I was like, wow, these shows are really similar. I like both of them. This is crazy. Like that I'd just randomly find two shows that I really like. Yeah. So, but
I like Kill la Kill.
I was watching them simultaneously, and I finished Kill la Kill. Then I was like, I have nothing else to watch, so I just finished Gurren Lagann. One of the best anime of all time.
That's
in my opinion.
I need to finish it. I've seen like 4 episodes or 5 episodes, and
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah, that's it. So if I got more into it,
like episode 4 is infamous for being like I guess they just got I don't know, something happened in production, and it just like, or maybe they like brought on people, new staff members. I don't know. I know nothing about it. I just know that episode 4 is just infamous for being like not good. Like everyone's like, yeah, episode 4 doesn't exist. Ha ha ha. There is no episode 4 in the walls of Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, that's funny. So mine would probably be. Oh, what really though? I wanted to say something about Kill la Kill. It starts very slow too, if you ask me, but then by the end, it's so awesome. Like once all the revelations start to happen and everything just kind of comes together, you know, because at first it's kind of episodic, I guess. Like it has one day, one villain.
Yeah, I remember like being it, and also like I watched both of these when I was like 13, 14. So like I was watching it like the early parts, and I was like, oh, I can follow this. But then like as it got like to the mid part, I just like was not able to. And like I'm sure if I went back and like rewatched it, I would like fully understand everything. But I was just like, I'm just along for the ride. I don't know what's going on. There's flashy animation.
Yeah,
I like these characters.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good show. I recommend it to people. But I think really the only people in my kind of circle that watch anime is my brother and I guess my friend Drew from Florida.
Yeah.
But I've told Jaden to watch it a bunch of times, but he puts it off.
Yeah. I take my recommendations so seriously. I like desperately recommend shows like my friend group is like we're like all art kids or whatever. Like I attract like I said, I'm an extrovert. I'm like, oh, I like always talk to a bunch of people. But like the thing is, I'll like for some reason I'm like a magnet for like the artsy, introverted, shy type or whatever. And I don't know why this is, and it's obviously it's not an insult. All of my friends, they're awesome. But like all of them were like they're like I guess it's like because they tend to not be into like mainstream stuff, but like they're receptive to me like recommending them like anime or whatever. Like they'll like kind of they'll be like, okay, yeah, I'll watch the show. Like they'll like if I recommend them something, they don't seem they'll never say like, oh no, I don't think that's something for me or whatever. But like no one ever commits to watching something to like getting into something when I recommend it to them, and it's so frustrating because like I've seen so many shows and like I if somebody recommends me something, I'll just like watch it because like my perspective is just like there are so many shows to watch that like there's always something that like I could be spending my time on that's like better, you know, like there's always a better show out there. And like so like when I'm watching something, I'm always like, oh, am I spending my time wisely by watching this? Am I like, do I have a reason? And I guess that's also kind of part of what I like making YouTube videos about is that like, it kind of gives me a reason to talk about something. It like justifies me watching a show. But like, if somebody recommends me something, I'm just like, cool. I don't need to think about how much I'll enjoy the show. Like I have my reason. And it's like, it's because my friend said that I like, no matter what, if like my friend has seen a show and they're like, I liked this show, I think you should watch it. Like I will just, like, it's not even a question for me because like, I immediately have like that extra layer of meaning of like meta meaning to like get something out of the experience of watching a show, which is that like, it may somehow like bring me insight into what kind of shows my friends like, and like, potentially be able to have a conversation with them about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the best part. That's why if someone recommends me something, I will watch it just so that I can talk to them about it because that means they really like it and they're gonna like. It's cool to hear people talk about something that they really like or they're passionate about. So I would watch it just so that I can have a conversation with them about the show.
Like I did that. I started watching Fire Force, which is a currently running show because my cousin recommended it to me. And that's like absolutely the type of show that I would not like it doesn't like, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's like not the kind of show that like I would feel compelled to continue watching. But like, as I'm watching it and I'm only a couple episodes in, I'm like, I can tell that like I'm more invested than I would be because like I can understand. I'll be like, huh, what like there's the level of like, what do I think about what's happening on screen? And then also like, what do I think my cousin was thinking about this when it was happening on screen for him?
That's some deep thought. Like, so you want to know how I found your channel? This is how I found your channel.
That's actually, that's something that I was really interested in, is like how people kind of discover me. Is it just like through my most popular videos?
So so right now I'm watching Parasite for the first time. And so I was like, I'm like 10 episodes into Parasite, and then I'm just I can't wait to like watch people talk about it. So I was like, I don't have enough time to finish the whole show right now, but I'm like looking at YouTube videos, like just trying to hear just some people talk about it just a little bit, like to say how good it is, or if it's not good, or I just want to hear opinions a little bit. So I searched Parasite, and one of your video was like the third at the top or something.
That's like literally, that's like one of my favorite videos, purely because of the comment section.
And see,
it's so funny.
Yeah, wait a minute. I think that I did click on the video. It's pretty long, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
It's like 7 minutes.
Oh, is it? Never mind. I think I may have clicked on a different video.
There are some other videos on Parasite that are like 15 or 20 minutes long or something, and I like watched those. Just to like see if, because part of my whole thing is that like I don't want to just like repeat points that other people have said, right? So I watched Parasite and I was like, I kind of want to talk about this, like to justify my experience with it, as I said in the video, because I didn't like the show very much. But I wanted to like, to me it seemed like obvious what the problems with the show was. So like I was like, somebody's surely mentioned these, right? And so like I went on YouTube and I searched it up, and basically everybody was like making good points. Like nobody's video of the videos that like I watched, I was like, oh, I completely disagree with this. This is stupid. Like everyone like had like perfectly valid reasons to like it or whatever, but nobody had like expressed like the problems that I had with it. So I was like, sure, I'll like put together a 7-minute video, like just kind of like not incoherently rambling, but like very much so like it wasn't like one of my like, I'm here to make a point, I'm here to sound like super smart. I was just kind of like, it was more off the cuff than my normal video. And what I failed to realize at the time was that this show aired 5 years ago. It aired in 2015. And so the only people who are going to click on a video about Parasite in 2020 are going to be people who liked the show. And so like just imagine some like exactly the thought process that I'm sure you had, or which was like, hey, this show like aired a while ago, are people still talking about it? My video says, is it too late to talk about Parasite? People will be like, that's exactly the video that I want to click on because I liked this show and there's probably not many people talking about it. Immediately, I'm just like, I thought this show was bad. It's like, here's all the problems I had with it. And like
everyone hate on you.
Like to this day, like at least once a week, I get a comment of somebody just saying, bro, this show is great. Fuck you. Or like, it's so funny because no one, you can scroll through that entire comment section. I have not received a single comment that like addressed any of like my point. Well, there are a few comments that like made a point about, because like in that video I said like, why don't they just pull out their hair at some point or whatever, and they said like obviously they couldn't pull out their hair because they'd kill them. I was like, okay, well it's still like you could just ask them to pull out their own hair. Like you don't need to, if you've seen the show, basically like these aliens just like infest like humanity or whatever. They're like sort of bug creatures and they just like get underneath your skin. They like take over your brain or whatever. And like some people are parasites, some people aren't parasites, and once this becomes public information, the government is like trying to figure it out, and they have like, there's like this building and there's like a bank there, and there are like people inside of the building, and like they like get everybody in the building. They're like, everybody step outside or whatever, and we're going to like have this literal, like he's literally like an insane person, like he's murdered people before, and this insane person is just like, hey, I can like I'm a monster, so I can recognize monsters. And like I didn't say this in my video, but like right away that was just like whatever, like that's like anime logic, I guess. So I just like rolled with that, and like and so they bring this guy onto the site or whatever, and they're like, hey, you tell us, the government, tell us people, the SWAT team, people with guns pointing them at these civilians, tell us who's a monster and who isn't. And he's like, oh, that guy's a monster. And they just shoot on the guy, like no provocation, literally just this insane person says he's a monster. They kill that person right away.
Whoa.
And I like, and it's ridiculous. And like the entire time, and they bring in like an X-ray machine at some point to like see who's a monster and who isn't. But like the entire time while watching, I was literally just thinking, you already established, because what they establish is that if you pull out a parasite, somebody who has been infected, if you pull out a strain of their hair, the hair will like rile around or whatever, like as its own like living mass or whatever, and then it'll die. So it was the entire time I'm just thinking like, just pull out their hair and see who's a parasite instead of risking who you will shoot and who you will not shoot or whatever. And like that was my thought process. And like, yeah, you probably couldn't get close enough to pull out their hair, because once they realize, they'll just kill everybody. But you could say, hey, everyone, pull out your own hair and show us that it's not writhing around. And everybody whose hair doesn't do that, they'll just be like, okay, you guys can go. We're going to kill the rest of these people.
Yeah, I haven't got that far yet. So, but yeah, I can see that it gets...
Sorry for spoiling.
No, it's okay, because that's not that big a deal, I don't think. Yeah. But like... it makes it. I can see where it's
not a terrible show. I just like...
Yeah, I don't think I really like it so far. I think it's pretty awesome. But
I said,
you know, it can change.
Like I said, there's plenty to enjoy about it. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Once I finish it, then I can really have my real opinion about it. But right now, I'm just, you know, when you're in the middle of it, it's kind of hard to really form a whole opinion about the whole show. So how many reviews do you think you've done of anime shows? A lot?
Honestly, I guess I've done a lot. Like, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't say that, like, actually, no, I kind of take that back. I think most of the shows that I like, because like my content covers, like, it's not like just anime, you know, like I also talk about like cartoons, like stuff from the West, like live action stuff. Literally, right now I have a video I'm writing a script about discussing Pentatonix music videos and how I think they've gone downhill. So like that's nowhere, like Pentatonix being the like super popular a cappella band. Yeah. So, like, no glance at my channel would give you the indication that like that's something that I would talk about. My channel, like, it's very much just like I'll talk about whatever I want to. It just happens to be that like I mostly like anime and cartoons and stuff. But yeah, so I guess I wouldn't say that like I've done like that many reviews of stuff, but I have seen like a decent amount of shows. Like, I mean, nowhere near as much as like as like the you know, you said like Super Eye Patch Wolf and like Giga and Digi. You know, like they've all seen hundreds upon hundreds, like maybe even thousands of shows. I've seen like about 100. Yeah, or at least I've got like about 100 on my anime list. Like I always like I'll see a video and they'll like reference a show and they'll be like, oh yeah, I've seen that. I remember stuff about that. Like it's like recognition but not recall or whatever.
Right. So let's go through a little list here. Have you seen? You mentioned Naruto earlier. Have you seen Naruto and all of that?
Yeah, I've seen Naruto. I've seen all of the original series. I thought it was pretty good. I watched episode 1 of Shippuden, realized there was 500 episodes, and noped out of there.
So that's probably the same with One Piece.
Yeah, I watched episode 1, realized there were over 1,000 episodes, said no. Though I did also know that like I already knew that it was a ridiculously long show, and I had also heard that the anime like stretches shit out. Like it's very like they'll adapt like one manga, like they'll adapt like one chapter of the manga into like a full episode, which is like which means that like it takes twice as long as it needs to. So I figure that if I ever pick up One Piece, which I think at some point I probably will, considering it's like, even though it's like not finished, it's already one of the most influential manga / anime of all time.
Yes, it's my favorite show. I recommend it to everybody.
Have you seen Best Guy Ever? Do you know who that is?
No.
He is like the biggest One Piece stan. I'm gonna send you a link, but Best Guy Ever and Digine are both part of a group of like internet content creators called the Procrastinators. and they do a weekly podcast, but they also do like sort of just like collaborative creative video projects. It's kind of like whatever, but like for example, like one thing that they do is every year or so, I mean it's not like a schedule, it's not like a scheduled annual thing, but like for the past like 5 years or something, about like every year or so they'll do a like a get together, which they call RadCon, which stands for radical it's not convention, it's like I forget what it's got. Conference, yeah. It's like which stands for like radical conference, where they all just like get together and just like make stuff. Like they'll rent out a house or something like that, and just like make sets everywhere in it, and just like make tons of videos, just like ridiculous amounts of content together. And like the main attraction, and here's the link, are the PCP University lectures, where they just get up in front of all of their friends, they get up in front of all the other PCP members, and they just talk for a long time about something. And Best Guy Ever did his on One Piece, and it's almost 5 hours long, and I watched all of it, listened to all of it, and they're all amazing. Highly would recommend those. They're great for getting, they really do function very well as getting caught up on stuff, or like getting
so it goes through the whole
just
show,
like legitimately learning about something. Like I learned about the podcast The Biggest Problem in the Universe, which is a podcast that's run by Dick Masterson and Maddox, and like their whole, and like these guys were like very big in like early YouTube, DigiNay did a university lecture about that, and it was super great. Like, but yeah, they have it, but yeah, it's not just like lectures about like TV shows. They have them about like video games, or like what DigiNay did, like literal real life content creators, or just like or individual people or something, just like everything and anything. And it's great. Highly would recommend.
That's awesome.
The PCP University lectures.
Hey, I gotta check that out. This looks crazy. I mean,
but
5 hours.
Best Guy Ever. He does, yeah. Like he's, like I said, he's like the biggest One Piece stan I know.
That's
and
great.
He's made tons of One Piece videos. That I haven't seen any of One Piece, haven't read any of One Piece, but yeah. I mean, those videos are great.
Yeah.
Don't know if I would agree with them or not, but
right.
Entertaining nonetheless.
I'll make the case for you. Like, so when I've watched One Piece, I was in college, and I was like, well, you know, what am I doing with my time here, you know? And so I was just like looking at One Piece and how huge it was, and I was like, well, I'm not watching any other shows right now, so I might as well just start watching this one. And so I got into this mode. You know, you get into routines and things just start to happen. So every night before I went to bed, I would watch like 5 or 6 episodes of One Piece.
Yep.
And then I would go to sleep. Then I'd wake up in the morning, do my daily stuff, go to work, go to school, whatever. Then I'd lay down at night, and I'd watch 5 or 6 episodes of One Piece before I went to bed. And you know what? When I got to the later episodes, and you know, One Piece is so colorful and bright, like especially in the later episodes with all the, because it has so much weird
One Piece does have
happening.
Like one of my favorite aesthetics.
Yeah.
And out of like any show that I've seen.
It gave me some crazy dreams. Like I would wake up in the middle of the night with like just colors swirling in my brain from looking at all that stuff, you know, right before I went to bed. Yeah. And so some nights I would have to, like, I'd have to give myself a day off or something so I could sleep because I would have just like such colorful whirls in my head. But I couldn't, like, it became addicting, you know. It's really good.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that was me with with the show How I Met Your Mother. Like,
oh yeah,
sitcom that I made a video about, several videos about, I guess it was like the video series why How I Met Your Mother is better than Friends. But yeah,
oh, like you have that series, huh? You're gonna attack Friends like that? Because I love Friends. It's one of my other favorite shows.
I know. I mean, hey, Friends is not a bad show.
Yeah, you just think it's better.
I just think How I Met Your Mother is objectively superior in every way, shape, and form. Oh my god.
Gotcha.
Exaggerate.
We should have the
that was
great
me with How I
debate.
Met Your Mother. I've seen it so many times.
Gotcha. Yeah, so my girlfriend's seen both of them, and she really does love How I Met Your Mother. I think she has like we named our isn't Linus a thing from that show?
Huh?
Isn't Linus a thing from that show? Thank you, Linus.
I don't remember a character named Linus.
Thank you, Linus. Maybe it's from something else. But
yeah, thank you, yeah, that's from season 9 when Lily, one of the characters, she's away. The setup is that Marshall, who is her husband, is like away for reasons that don't really matter. But Lily, while they're all going to the Farhampton Hotel, which is where an event is going to happen that I guess I won't spoil, but Lily is away from Marshall, and like while she's there, she like goes to the bartender whose name is Linus, and she says, whenever you see me without a drink in my hand, you put a drink in my hand. And he says, oh, so you want the Kennedy package? And then she gives him money, and then for the rest of for the rest of the season, or like for the rest of the time that Marshall is away, anytime Lily is on screen, she has a drink in her hand, and then whenever she finishes it, she sets it down, and then Linus comes out of nowhere, gives her a drink, and she says, thank you, Linus.
Yeah, we named our Roomba Linus because of that. So every time it docks, she says, thank you, Linus.
Nice.
So yeah, she's into that. I think she has a shirt. I don't remember what the shirt says though. She has a shirt of something, a reference to the show.
Up. Challenge accepted.
I think it's more like, I think it's something to do with slap bet. I think.
The slap bet.
I think it's something to do with that, but I don't know. I've seen like small bits of the show. It's one of those that we should probably watch together because I mean we'd like it, but I don't know, our schedules are crazy, so it just depends, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, again, like,
I'll
yeah,
put
like,
that
not
on
to
the
make
list.
Friends sound bad, but like I would describe it as like Friends but better.
Gotcha. See, yeah, I like Friends. I guess it's probably one of those things where nostalgia plays an impact.
Yeah.
Like because I saw it years ago and I was really into it.
The other thing is that How I Met Your Mother was kind of like, it was one of the first shows that like I was at least one of the first like live action sitcoms that I really got into. Yeah, I mean, like I always think of like nostalgia is like a perfectly reasonable reason to enjoy something. And like for me, and this is kind of what I was talking about with like not being there for the Toonami era, is that like because I don't have that nostalgia, I'm kind of like missing out on that conversation of people who can explain why they like something. Like you could probably articulate why you enjoyed Dragon Ball Z way better to somebody who also lived through that era than someone like me who hadn't.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So when people say like maybe I'm wearing my nostalgia goggles too tight, I'm always like, they're like why is that a problem? Enjoy anything. Why do I need a reason to like something? Yeah, just like what I was saying.
Yeah, I feel that. It's kind of the same thing as like guilty pleasures. Do you have a guilty pleasure anime?
Yeah, yes,
or
exactly.
Multiple?
It's like you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
I'm trying to think of. You mentioned Sword Art earlier. I think
Sword Art Online, yeah.
I think that's one of my. I don't know if I would call it guilty pleasure, but when I was watching it, I felt like this is not good, the whole time. But I couldn't stop watching it. I watched the whole thing because I was like, this is just so interesting and so anime. You ever watch something and you're like, this is just so anime?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And I was like, the most anime show that's
my experience
ever animated.
Watching basically, I'm watching Fire Force, and I had the video about Rent a Girlfriend, and the title should tell you alone. Like the entire time I'm watching it, I'm just like, this is so anime. And it's honestly been a while since like I watched, because again, like I've kind of been on this tirade of just watching watching historical stuff, because I've been like, I know that, because like, first of all, it's like, I know that it will be good, you know, like only the good things stay popular. And that's why people look back on like, oh, the old era of like, and this isn't the only reason that they say stuff like this, but people will be like, oh, like TV shows, music, anime back in the 80s was way better than it is now or whatever. And I think that a very large part of why they say that is not necessarily because of nostalgia, but because the only relics, the only remnants of that era are the stuff that people have intentionally held on to, which means that they're good, you know?
Yeah.
Like old music, people don't re-listen to the bad music from the 80s because it was bad. Why would you? So now you hear music on the radio or like get released in public or whatever now, and you think like that's like let's just say it is like a terrible song or whatever. You think like that's a terrible song. And or just like you see like a ton of mediocre songs, right? So you see like a ton of mediocre songs and you think like that's all mediocre. This music from the 80s that I still listen to is really great, and it is. And so like then they conclude that like, oh, music from back then was better. But like that might not, and again, like I didn't live in the 80s. I haven't listened to like all music of all time, but like I definitely think that like a decent part of why people think like that is because you're consuming everything that's coming out now, or at least you're exposed to it, and like most stuff is not like top tier amazing stuff that will be remembered for ages, versus the stuff that you do remember is still great, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You know, that's a very deep thought. How are you such a deep thinker at 17 years old, you know? What do you do all day? Just sit around? You just sit and think about stuff?
Honestly, that would not be an exaggeration.
Yeah.
I sit around and I listen to podcasts of people talking about like stuff, or videos of people analyzing videos. I'm either like doing that, or I'm making my own videos or watching my own shows.
Yeah.
At least during the quarantine anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's it impacted you quite a bit in that regard.
Yeah, it impacted me in the sense that I have literally nothing to do all day every day.
Yeah.
Because again, like I'm a student, you know. I don't have a like I guess I have a job, but like it got put on hold, you know, because I had to be like around people for it.
Yeah.
But like I'm just like at home, like nothing, like in the early, like for the early part of the quarantine, like when it first got started, we switched to online schooling, but once that was over, I had just like no reason to even like get out of bed. So I would just like stay up until like 4 a.m. every night, and I'd be like, this is reasonable, or this is fine.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was no reason not to, I guess, but like eventually I was like, okay, I should probably like dial it back a little. And so I've been like finding any opportunity I can to just like fill the day with activities or whatever. And that's part of why, and that's another reason why I will just like watch any show based on like anyone's recommendation. Like somebody will just like say, hey, I thought this show was interesting, and I'm like, I'm on that shit.
Yeah, I got you. I remember those days, man, of being awake till 4 a.m. and just not having that much of a care in the world, you know?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure. Yeah. Like I definitely I definitely think that I take for granted how much free time I have, and like how, because part of with my YouTube channel, if I was further along, if I didn't have as much free time as I have now, if I didn't have like basically all of my needs being taken care of by my parents, like I would probably like have to like look at my channel and decide like, do I want to, it would be a choice of like either do YouTube stuff completely on the side and like not have much time to devote to it, because right now I can easily upload like at least once a week, you know, because I just have that much free time. But like I don't monetize my content, but you know, or I don't actively like go out of my way to get lots of views and like gain a subscriber base or whatever. And like if I were to start up a Patreon or something, but like if I didn't have as much time to justify, like if I couldn't justify my YouTube channel if I had so little time that the only way to justify my YouTube channel was that it would allow me to like a monetary incentive, then like I'm sure like I would be a lot more aware of how much time I do have now to like commit to it.
Yep, you're right.
And that's another part of like why I have so much respect for you, is that you clearly are passionate about your channel and like what you do, even though you basically have an entire other life.
Yep, and it is like I would say, people when you get older, you need to have hobbies and stuff like that. I would say this is it's a hobby, but it's a passion. Like I've always wanted to be a YouTuber.
Yep.
This is my ideal lifestyle. Like if I could record videos, do vlogs, do podcasts, create stuff. I'm just a creative person. I feel like it's a good outlet for me. But I have the mindset of looking at it as a hobby right now, that because it's a good distraction. I have my work, I have my family, and then this is my hobby that helps me be creative. It's an outlet to help me for mental health and everything. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
and I mean that's part of, and that, like that's definitely part of the it's like the idea of like not really needing to rush things. Actually kind of I've already finished the next episode of my Watching Every Ghibli Movie series, where I talk about Whisper of the Heart. But in that, I like part of that movie, I kind of talk about like that movie is very much about like being an art kid kind of thing, and about like sort of the insecurities that people have about the art that they create, right? And one of the points that it makes, and one of the points that really vibed with me, was that was sort of like feeling like you should be further along in like whatever your passion is than you currently are. And like and it kind of like has the main character be like pump the brakes. You don't need to like be a master at anything. Like you have time, like just like worry about yourself, worry about like being stable or whatever. Because in the movie, I won't spoil anything actually, because I really loved the movie and I think everyone should watch it. But yeah, it kind of has that message, and it really vibed with me, and it kind of like brought me some closure about or like feeling secure about like, even if in the future I don't have as much time to devote to my YouTube channel, because I still do want to do it, like I have no reason not to. It's fun, so
yeah.
But in the future, even if I have to upload far less frequently, even if I don't have as much time to like devote to actually spending to making content and like trying to like grow a fan base or whatever, like that's okay. It can like take time and just like focus sort of on yourself first and foremost,
Yeah, for sure. That's great. When did this movie come out?
Movie came out in 1995.
Wow, so it's one of the older ones, huh?
Yeah, that was actually something that was really crazy, is that this like that, because that message is so applicable now, because there are YouTubers, and like this is how I got into YouTube. I saw other YouTubers, I was like, I want to be like that. And people who are popular are presenting their like most successful self. They're like most like, I'm a great person or whatever, even though we're all just people, we all have other stuff going on outside of our content on YouTube. But when you're a little kid and you like see the million sub YouTuber and you're like, I want to be like them or whatever, you get focused into that mindset of being like, this is what I should be. Like I should be striving to become this million sub channel that uploads once every 2 days and that like everyone seems to love or whatever. When really it's more like creatively fulfilling, I find, to make videos that like you want to make,
Yes. Yep. For sure.
And yeah, and like it's crazy that like Whisper of the Heart was able to like connect with this message that's so applicable now, back in 1995.
Yep. I mean, there's themes throughout history that just resonate at different times.
Yeah, just sort of universal.
Yeah, universal for sure. So this is what we should do. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I just recently started, like I finally got a kind of a schedule down for videos that I want to make. You know, like
Right.
weekly, like Monday through Friday, I have videos coming out on certain days. I'm doing like movie commentary tracks on Fridays. If we could figure it out, we should do. If you're down for this, you know, we should do a movie commentary of something. Like I've been doing, like my favorite movie. Like my favorite movie is Jurassic Park. So I just released and my girlfriend had never seen it, so we watched it together. So if you have a favorite movie and you're down for that, if we could figure out how to do it, we should watch
Favorite movie.
your favorite movie, and we could
I
do
don't
a
know.
commentary
I think
about
I
it.
have like a watch. I think I should check like my IMDb watch list or something.
Yeah.
Or like me and my sister have like a whole list of movies that we've been meaning to watch. I just watched like How to Train Your Dragon series. We watched we're planning on watching like the whole Harry Potter series. Those are all like series of movies and stuff. But yeah, that's an interesting idea. I don't know. We should keep in touch.
If you're down for that, man, that would be so cool.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay,
Well, I
cool.
mean, we just rounded the 1 hour mark, and that seems like a decent place to stop.
Yep, I agree with you. I didn't know what to expect from this because I'd never ever talked to you before, like literally just a couple messages. So I didn't know what we talk about or anything. It's really interesting. I would say experiment / experience.
Yeah.
Cool. So if you're tell everybody what else you got going on. Tell them where they can find you if you
Well, YouTube channel is Kross, Kross. I'm sure you'll have it like linked in the description or something.
Yep, sure will.
Yeah, I make cool stuff on there. And then I make I post whatever I want on that channel, and then I post whatever I want, except it's like completely unfiltered and not like trying to be like well made in any way on my second channel, Experiment C. So
And
I
then,
guess check
Twitter,
that out if you feel like it.
You want to do Twitter or anything?
Nah. I
Nah.
mean, my Twitter is just like at. I don't even know what it is. I like never use Twitter. It's just Kross at
Gotcha.
GameCon626. That was like my old, very cringy YouTuber tag. I called myself GameCon626. Very cringe, but yeah. I guess you can find me at those places.
Woohoo! So, Kross, thank you so much. You're
yeah.
like
Thank
my
you.
first. You're like my first real guest, I would say, that has some subscriber count. So
Sick.
yeah, dude. If I ever we can look back. If I ever get more
Yeah.
popular, you can be like, wow, I was on that show like years ago. It'd be funny. But I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And we should keep in touch if you're, and we'll talk about that and see if you want to come back and do something. It'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Okay, that is it, everyone. Thank you so much for listening / watching / whatever you're doing. And subscribe to Kross. So nice to come on the podcast and talk with me and just give his time. And yeah, super cool. But yeah, that's it. Subscribe to this channel. Leave a like on this video. Thank you. Can't say thank you enough. And that's it. We'll see ya.